So before we get started with this video, I want to shout out my man Colossal Beings, who is the owner of the brand Colossal Beings. He is providing the gear that I am wearing today, as you can see here. Dope shirt, and the hat as well. Dope hat. You got the patchwork on the hat right here with some pins. You also got a black one right here. He is from New York City, but he is currently stationed in LA. Also has a white shirt right here, and on the back of this black shirt and on the back of this white shirt is this stuff right here, which is kind of like New York LA mixed, to show, you know, where he from and where he's at. All the links to his brand will be in the description. I have wore some of his t-shirts and some of his hats before on the channel, so if you ever wonder where I get this from, it's a local black creator by the name of Colossal Beings. You can find him on all social media sites, colossalbeings.com. the links will be in the description. This is some of the best quality stuff I've ever received in my life, man. Shout out to Colossal Beings. But let's get off into the video. So recently, Jay Z was denied for his casino in Times Square.
We met the standard and then some. The benefits you denied this community and this city and state.
And Nas was approved for his casino in Queens.
There's a theme in Queens, and I know Nas is a part of this. Queens get the money. Sorry, Jay-Z, we win again.
Now, this is not their casinos, but they have linked with different organizations to partner up to bring these casinos to New York City. And a lot of questions have been going on online because a lot of people was getting at Jay, was making fun of him. I wouldn't say making fun of him, but was a little bit like, ha, 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 you didn't get your casino. And a lot of people were championing Nas for getting his casino, and I saw a lot of questions online about why is it. And so I'm here to answer that question. Nas is the people's champion. If you ask me, Nas won that beef, not only because his run that he just recently went on with Hit Boy, but just overall in general, there's a lot more depth to Nas than there is Jay-Z. I feel as though Jay-Z is like a picture book and Nas is like that thick novel that you do not want to read. You want to hide something from niggas, put it in a book.
Why did Marvel just turn Nas into a superhero? The latest chapter is Marvel teaming up with Mass Appeal to bring hip-hop's mythology to life, reimagining legends like Nas.
Jay-Z is that picture book that everybody just likes to look at the highlights, but if you really look at it in depth, from the beef that they had back in the days until just overall swag, the culture, who has the most revered albums, it's Nas. Illmatic is probably one of the best albums to come out of New York City, if not the best, depending on who you talk to. Pitchfork just did a top 100 rap albums, and it was comical to say the least, but I think they had like The Infamous by Mobb Deep. I could totally understand, but if you ask me, I'm going with Nas. Feel as though when Jay-Z speaks and when Jay-Z talks, he talks from a me perspective, and when Nas talks, he talks from a we perspective.
Imagine everybody flashing, fashion, designer clothes, lacing your click up with diamond rolls.
Nas has been very quiet about his business moves, to where Jay-Z has been very vocal about his business moves, and he always tries to position them as something that's the best for the culture.
We're not coming to compete with Broadway. We're coming to add. We're coming to be additive. You know, anything that we've done in the past, we've always included the community. We've never excluded the community.
And I think that's the reason why people were kind of looking at Jay a little weird this time. Now, don't get me wrong. I love both of them. I am more of a Nas person, but growing up, I was more of a Jay-Z person. And that's because I really like Kanye West. I like Beanie Siegel. I like the Young Guns. I liked a lot of the Philly guys that Jay-Z brought up. But if you ask me, It Was Written and Illmatic are some of the best hip-hop rap albums of all time. And then you got Magic. Then you got Magic 1, Magic 2. Then you got King's Disease 1, King's Disease 2, King's Disease 3. Nas, it took him a long time to get his flowers. It took him a very long time to get his Grammy. He just recently got his Grammy with his run with Hit Boy. Nas is just the people's champ. What he speaks up on, you know, they almost call him a Hotep. You know, he almost is a Hotep rapper. But even if you listen to his last 3 verses, the one that he had on The Emperor's New Clothes with Raekwon, and on Supreme Clientele 2 with Ghostface Killah.
Project 2025 mandated by Reagan. House niggas on the rise, they love the plantation.
And the one that he had on Let God Sort Him Out, Chandeliers.
Cancel me before I unleash the Panther me. The Pantheon is a family.
he really is speaking up on something that's deeper than just the surface level. So a lot of the times, you know, Nas gets disrespect because he's that novel. He's that book that you don't want to read. Jay-Z is that picture book that is very highlight. You know, he got Beyonce. He's doing the NFL thing. You know, his business acumen is very in your face, in the front. Nas has been more so about, you know, he has the same move, but he isn't demonized for it because his music and the subject matter that he has laid out in his music ever, even when they were beefing, it was almost like Nas was going against the machine because Hot 97 wouldn't play his music.
I'm here to let my people know, you know what I'm saying, all my hip-hop community people know that I was dissed this morning by Hot 97. We need our freedom. If y'all ain't gonna go for this fight for y'all freedom, y'all gonna be like them sucker artists that just go up to the radio station and kiss ASS just to get some airtime, or just suck Flex or suck Clue, and them trying to get on their best side so they can play your record. They team up with the evil. See, it's a whole evil empire funded by a bunch of other evil empires, Def Jam one of them, that's giving them money to play all their artists' records. Meanwhile, the struggling artists...
Nas has always stood in the position of the people, to where I feel as though Jay-Z, he kind of shoots himself in the foot a lot. Rock Nation, you know, they get the blame for everything. And that, I'm not here sitting and trying to blame Rock Nation for everything. I think they overly criticize Jay and Beyonce way too much. That is definite. But Jay has always released albums or released projects or released something when Nas was releasing. It was almost like it was still beef. Jay-Z stopped doing it. Like, I think, a few of his releases with the Hit Boy stuff, he stopped doing it. Jay-Z gets Hit Boy out of his contract, but Nas works with Hit Boy and probably puts bread in his pocket. So it depends on how you look at those moves. If you in the industry, you know Hit Boy been making hits forever. But if you really look at it, Hit Boy didn't really start getting popular until he started working with Nas. So it's like Nas does a move like that, Jay-Z gets him out of his contract. So it's like they're always in this little secret competition. But if you look at it, Nas always positioned himself from like a love perspective, from like he doing it out of his heart, to where it seems as though Jay does things that makes him look better and makes him is more financial incentive than it is anything else. I don't know what the whole deal is with him, with Jay-Z getting Lil Wayne taxes right, getting Hit Boy, even, you know, Rock Nation helping out the Clips. But it's like Rock Nation helps out the Clips, Nas jumps on the album. So it's like kind of like a tit for tat. And that's why people were championing Nas, because it feels as though Nas is the underdog. You know, I'm an underdog type person. I understand what it's like to be the underdog. I understand what it's like for people to doubt you, you know what I'm saying, count you out. I empathize with Nas. I see myself in Nas, where even when Jay signed him, everybody was like, yeah, Jay signed him, he lost. And it's like, that ain't got nothing to do with the music. The music, ether is a verb. It's something that people say. You got ether. And even Remy Ma used sheethered against Nicki, kind of trying to play with the whole Queens thing. So I like both of them as artists. I lean towards more as Nas. My favorite Jay projects is like American Gangster, Black Album, Blueprint. Those are my favorite 3 Jay projects. And then you could probably put Reasonable Doubt. But, you know, I think Jay does get over criticized and over hated, but Nas has always positioned himself as a person of the people. And that's the reason why he always gets disrespected and he always gets shots thrown at him, especially with a lot of younger artists, is because, you know, he's not the lit in the party, in the club type person. You know, he's been disrespected for, you know, is it Uchiwali or One Mic? Like, why can't it be both? Especially now, if you look at Jay, since American Gangster, Jay been on some real, he been talking about spirituality. He been talking about, you know, 1 out of 3 of us is locked up doing crime. You know, Jay always been talking about the system in the game. It just was done very differently. Sometimes it seems like Jay's a snake, that he does these very capitalistic, selfish, me type of moves. Like, even getting the NFL thing, from what it was said to people, was that Jay kind of snaked Jermaine Dupri out of that thing. So it's like Jay has lived long enough to see himself become a villain, and him trying to position Casino in Times Square as something that was for the people or for the culture was kind of a hard pill to swallow for some people, especially if you ask me. You're like, all right, dog. And I really think it boils down to just bad location. Queens is out the way. It gives a reason for people to travel to Queens. You don't need a reason for people to come to Times Square. You need more of a reason for people to get the heck out of Times Square. Even with like the ball and the holiday season, Times Square is a madhouse. So I couldn't imagine them trying to put a casino down there. 40 Deuce is crazy. But Queens makes sense because it's out the way, it's outside of the city, and it gives a reason for people to come out there. It's the same thing with like Coney Island. Coney Island is dope, and it was always dope for me to go. My dad's from Coney Island, but it was always dope to go because it was outside of the city. Go to Coney Island, you know, to go to the amusement park type thing, Cyclone there. You get what I'm saying? It's out the way. Putting a Coney Island type theme park thing in the middle of the city is kind of crazy. It's like even when they tried to put like Giant Stadium downtown by the old train yard, it didn't make sense. It's just too much. New York could barely barely handle the traffic right now. They got the toll booths that they put in for to lower traffic in Midtown. If you go past a certain thing, they take pictures of your license plates. It costs $9 to go in there. It's like New Yorkers already having a lot of issues when it comes to traffic. So I couldn't imagine them putting a freaking casino in 40 Dukes. So I just think that's really was like the thing. But you know, Jay-Z tried to push it as something that was for the community. It's like, what community is that for? Like, nobody want to travel downtown to work already. Now you want me to travel downtown to go to a casino? That's crazy. Jay-Z has positioned himself as like a crony capitalist almost. It almost seems as though he snakes people out of deals. And hold on, give me a second. But yeah, you know, Nas won, man. At the end of the day, a lot of people are not going to hate to admit it. You know, a lot of the media, a lot of the connections, Jay-Z got. So a lot of people don't really want to talk out against him because he got all the connections. I feel as though, you know, Nas has the same business acumen, you know, invested in Ring, his connections with Hennessy, swag and culture-wise, you know what I'm saying, dude? You feel me? Belly. I just think Nas is more of a human. It's seen as more of a human, where Jay kind of puts himself as like this God status that's unreachable, untouchable, and it just doesn't resonate, especially at a time like right now where people, you know, they're going through stuff. They're going through something deeper than just, you know, money, clothes, and hoes. And, you know, Jay, like I said, is always deeper than that. He definitely get overhated, but I love them both. I enjoy them both. I think both of them are important. But Nas is just, he just positioned himself correctly. What you think about this? Why do you think people was getting at Jay but was championing Nas when it comes to this casino thing? If you ask me, I'm against gambling completely. All this gambling that's going on right now is linked to poverty. When a society starts collapsing, people start gambling. People start taking those type of risks. So I'm not a fan of gambling at all. This was not me even champion gambling. I really think outside of the casino, Nas has just positioned himself as the people's champ. And so the things he do don't look as crazy. It's a we thing and not a me thing. That's kind of how I feel when it comes to Jay versus Nas. I feel as though people are more connected to Nas on a we level than it is a me thing. And I think Jay has kind of positioned himself as like a businessman that'll, you know, do anything for a buck. Let me know how y'all feel about this. Like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell so you could be notified whenever I release a video. The conversation continues with you, so leave me a comment. Let me know how you feel. Donate to this Cash App, Super Chat, anything like that is appreciated. The best way to support this channel is to become a member. I'm filling up a lot. I'm filling up my members only videos, man. My members are getting a lot of videos in this holiday season. We will be doing a giveaway. I'm gonna be giving away a pair of shoes, a vinyl, and some t-shirts and some merch. So make sure y'all tap in with your boy. Become a member. Join the Good Readers Club today. Read My Soul out. Peace.